Hi, and thanks for being with me again today. And thank you to Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial in LaSalle for always sponsoring this feature that we have every weekend. It's said Mendota got its name from an indigenous term meaning the crossing of trails. That's appropriate. In this case, the trails were the railroad lines. Railroads, commerce, and agriculture have always been part of Mendota, and the Mendota Museum and Historical Society reflects that history, as you might assume. And they embrace it in the form of 3 museums that are located downtown. There's the Hume Carnegie Museum with rooms full of local history, the Breaking the Prairie Museum that showcases the farming heritage, and then in between them is the Union Depot. Now, railroad enthusiasts and visitors to the area know about this amazing space. It leases its waiting room to Amtrak for today's rail passengers, so they know it that way too. But behind the door in that waiting room, in what used to be the inner workings of the train station, there's now a shrine to train travel and Mendota's place in it. It's free to visit, but yeah, do the right thing and give a donation. I am involved with the Historical Society in Mendota, and a big part of the reason is the stories that it tells in every nook and cranny around every corner. And each story is part of Mendota's heritage. So today you're going to get a glimpse of the Union Depot portion of the Mendota Museum and Historical Society. Alan Russell had been working hard on the place this week. He put down what he was doing long enough to visit with me and give a sense of what's going on there.
Everything starts right as soon as you come in the lobby door. We have the office for our maintaining record keeping and etc. There's all the way down the hallway is memorabilia, photographs about the old building and how it changed over time.
Look at
and
this.
Also some old-time photographs.
Mm-hmm. You could spend a lot of time just looking at this and studying the things in here.
Nobody has ever run out of things to look at.
There's so much. There's so much.
Incredible. Our telegraph office, which also has a ticket grate as well, and it has lots of memorabilia in there. It has the old-time telegraph receiver, and it's also got the old phones, a couple of message harps for handing up orders to the building. There's china that was sold in the stores in town. Some are candy dishes, some are ashtrays, etc. Back then, that was before people got smart, decided not to smoke.
Started not smoking, right?
There's a lot of small things in here. People can spend an hour in here, or they can spend a few minutes depending on what they're really interested in.
This has kind of always been interesting to me, sort of the candid of something that happened, this looks like probably 60, 70 years ago.
Just people boarding the train, and that would have been from the late 50s or early 60s.
Okay, so 60 years ago and change, yeah.
And one man took five of the pictures along the wall here on the south or north wall.
Really neat.
Right behind you, there's a Lincoln pin, and that's how before they invented knuckles, which is like putting your fingers together, opposing each other. They would have 2 loops, one in each car, and then they would have to overlap those 2 elongated rings and drop the pin in there, and hence the name. That's what held the train together. Not a very good system. It relied on friction and gravity to hold things together. So,
well, it was better than nothing, and it allowed them to be coupled, but not as well as they would be later,
and not as safely as later. The knuckles couplers are much safer.
What else?
Then the other thing in here would be the dinner chime that goes with our large collection of china and pewter and silver dinnerware.
So these would have all been on the trains.
On the train, they used to actually ring the chime
when it was time to come to the car.
Yep, and you knew that was time.
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
Greenwood's retirement bell that was given to him by the railroad when Bill Greenwood being our first president and of the whole society. And also when he retired, he came up from the ranks working here in town at the switch tower just south of the museum. And he rose all the way up to COO, the Chief Operating Officer.
He ran the railroad, quite literally. Once again, if you're listening to this on the radio or online, you're missing some cool footage. Tom's Take is video-based, and you can see this video and all the others at the Starved Rock Media YouTube channel. Just look for the Tom's Take playlist. Now back to the Union Depot.
We're now in the HO model room. The main thing in this room is the model of Mendota as it was in 1940. So this depicts Mendota downtown. Everything here is accurate from pictures and from plots of downtown. The trains on the model do operate. They run in the same direction that they ran in reality. We have both the CB&Q on the near side of the building, and on the far side of the model building is the Illinois Central. Then to boot, Mike Cerveni and crew have been doing, taken over what Ray Tutai originally made for us. Ray is very talented. He made the basic model, and the guys keep adding to it. You can hear the sound effects there, that's been added. A lot of lighting has been augmented. The trains actually have lights in them, and the kids have buttons around the edge that they can push and operate the trains in the sidings.
So I'm looking straight down.
Straight down Main Street.
Main Street here.
Yep.
And this would have been about 1940.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
And as we're here, another train. The real thing's coming through. A full-scale model, we might say.
That's full scale, yes. Now we're in the baggage porch, which was the baggage porch after the building was torn down. The portions of the building were torn down, and this was an open air room. We put in the glass around, and that way you can stand here and actually watch the trains in comfort. You don't have to rail fan out in the heat
and you're also
or the cold.
There's a little bit of quiet built in with the glass, I'm sure, too.
Oh, yes.
That can be pretty loud up there.
It is. Lots of kids have stood out there on the platform waiting for the train to come in, and then all of a sudden when it actually gets here, they run back to the building against the building.
Yeah.
So they don't realize how big and how powerful they are.
Loaded, yeah, exactly.
But in this room we have a lot of the equipment that was used by the men in the field. There's a tool cart which has lots of tools on it, but it also has a two-level shelving that we built for it because we needed more room for display space. Yep. You can't hardly turn around and not see something new and different. Our dining car here is typical of the period. It was actually made in Pullman, Illinois for the Southern Pacific Railroad, and we like it because it actually ran from Chicago to LA, similar to the Southwest Chief currently. This is actually not a diner, it's actually a cafe lounge car, and we love it because it's got, on this end, it's got a lounge, AKA bar, and,
this is great.
And it's got 8 tables on the other end. Basically, it's taken 10 years overall. We just made the tabletops about 3 or 4 years ago.
It's really a great space for anything that you want to do.
Correct.
There's just so much to this place. I've barely scratched the surface. There's so much to know about the depot and its history. You'll just have to come by and see for yourself. Steam engines, things that I couldn't show you because we just didn't have time, and you ought to come in and see for yourself. Thanks for coming along, though, this weekend, and thanks to Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial in LaSalle for sponsoring this weekly project. And thank you. I'll talk to you in the morning.